Well, did you hear about this couple? They were coming out of church. It was Easter Sunday. And they were leaving the church, and the kind of old school pastor was at the door greeting people, and said to this one person, you really ought to join them. We see you so infrequently. It just seems like it's only Christmas and Easter. You really ought to join the army of the Lord. And the guy said, well, I'm already in the army of the Lord, Pastor. He said, well, how come I only see you at Easter time? He said, I'm in the Secret Service.
Good.
Then there's another couple. They were leaving the church, and Harold and Jane, and they weren't a very religious couple, but good people. They tried their best. But they only went to church about once a year, usually on Easter. So as they were leaving, the minister said to the man, Harold, it sure would be nice to see you and Jane here more often. Harold said, well, I know, Pastor, but we're very, very busy. We just have so much going on, but at least we keep the 10 Commandments. And the pastor said, well, I'm glad to hear you keep the commandments. And Harold said, yes, we sure do. Jane keeps 6, and I keep the other 4. All right, they did it together. Those are my Easter jokes. It's really a wonderful day to be in church, and I'm really glad you decided. It's a wonderful occasion to celebrate. The Easter message is a powerful one, and it's really one for all year long, but it's that time during the year that we really celebrate this resurrecting power of God in our midst, in our lives, at all times, and in all places, no matter how dark the spot we are in. No matter the challenge we are facing, whatever it is, God can resurrect us from it. God can bring us to a new place and new life. This is the message of Easter. The scriptures, they again and again, they highlight this miracle. One of the key ones is the wonderful scripture. It's really in all 3 Gospels, Matthew, John, Luke, about the women. It's after the crucifixion, and the women are going to the tomb to prepare the body, for proper honoring, and they only just thought on the way that how they're going to get it into the tomb. They have these huge disc-like stones that are kind of round, a foot thick and 8 feet in diameter, that kind of were in a groove, and they rolled across the openings of these burial caves. They were huge and heavy. So the women on the way to the tomb, they were, who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance to the tomb? And they get there to find that the stone had been rolled away. That's the scripture. It's echoed again and again. And in one of them, in Mark 16, they enter the tomb. It's been rolled away. They see a mysterious young man dressed in a white robe sitting there. They're alarmed, and he says, do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. That's the Easter Gospel account. It's echoed in different ways. In one of the other ones, there are guards on duty to make sure the body isn't removed, and the thick stone. But in every one, there's this miraculous rolling away of the stone. The tomb is empty. No one knows exactly how it happened. The scripture really seems to be emphasizing this powerful idea that something is stronger than death. Something can roll away the stone from the tombs, the stuck places, and the darknesses, the darkness in our lives, and can overcome it. Jesus had told them this in his teachings again and again. In my Father's house there are many mansions. Life is beyond this visible form. There are realities beyond the limits we see here. But now it was like the word was spreading. It became evident. And that's the message that has come down to us through the generations. Something is stronger than death, that can turn a tomb into birth of a new thing. A tomb into a womb, into a new expansion of self. The resurrecting power of God is at the very heart of the Easter message. And the key thing to remember about this is, if this isn't merely about something that happened to Jesus of Nazareth all those many years ago, this spiritual master and what he made visible to us, this is happening in our lives all the time. This same God is accessible to each one of us and is doing this resurrecting work in all of us and in our lives all the time. It's going on in us, in our lives. People in this very room have come through dark times this year, have faced dark challenges, have been in stuck places perhaps that felt a little like a tomb. And the resurrecting energy of God's love has reached us there, or is reaching us there right now in miraculous ways. We need to kind of train our eye to catch it, because sometimes in the midst of these challenges, we don't see it. So I think we have to start by kind of believing and being on the watch for it. God's love is stronger than death, and it will find us wherever we are and however dark the place. And this is the activity of love. God is love. This is the activity of love in our midst. It's going on all the time. Resurrection is really a principle of life. I remember when I was doing a lot of hospice volunteer work some years back, I heard so many stories about love being stronger than death that it took my breath away, how often you heard that with people who were at that place in life where they were guiding loved ones through that transition, or they were recovering from it in the grief days afterwards, or facing their own deaths. I remember a lovely woman named Vera I visited down in German Village, who she shared with me she had lung cancer and was going to be going soon. And she had a lot of fear one day. It had really overtaken her, this feeling of fear and dread. And she said, and Joanne, it was just amazing. I was alone in my apartment, but all of a sudden I felt this hand on my shoulder. An invisible hand, bringing comfort, encouragement. God's love, stronger than death, can reach us wherever we are, alone in the midst of fear, darkness. I remember another patient I visited, it was actually her husband I had visited a couple of times. And then within some time after his passing, I touched base with Valia again, and we started going to the grocery store together. And she was in despair for quite a long while after Arnold's death, and did not even really want to go on some days. And then she told me, almost gleefully, about an experience she'd had the evening before, that she was just sitting in her regular chair in the living room and feeling sad, and she looked up and saw Arnold's face in a cloud, smiling down at her. Love reaching us from beyond boundaries we think are there but may not be. Love is stronger than death and will find a way to reach us. There are stories of resurrection going on in us all the time. In all circumstances, in situations in our lives, people coming back from despair and darkness and dread and illness of all kinds. So I thought I would share with you three little bios, little short bios of people whose stories I was inspired by in some way. And you might know some of these people as well. The first one is a dog trainer named Caesar Milan. Any of you ever follow any of the dog whisperer programs? We got onto Caesar's program when we got 2 golden retriever puppies in a rather foolhardy manner. We'll take 2. And if you've ever had a puppy, it's a challenge, especially if you haven't had dogs before. We'd always had cats, so it became a kind of a daily habit after we had them. We'd take a break from watching them while we had dinner, and the dogs would be, playing like wild animals in the other room. And the dogs play with each other. And we'd watch Caesar Milan over dinner and get tips on dog training. So it became like a friend of ours, at the time we got dogs. So I was surprised to learn in recent years, I guess it started happening about 2010, but he went through a severe depression. I did not know that. It was a series of things that happened. He lost his precious dog, Daddy, with a pit bull that was in so many of his dog whisperer programs, and was like a best buddy. So he died, and then his wife divorced him out of the blue after 16 years of marriage. I just pulled the rug out from under him. And then his business, financial crisis, the business, he maybe had not protected his financial assets perhaps as much as he could have, and he lost the program, all kinds of financial challenges. And the conclusion he came to after that was that I'm a failure. This all happened because I'm a failure. And became deeply depressed. And he actually attempted suicide, took pills, and his 2 teenage sons found him, came home and found him. and called the paramedics, and his life was saved. And he woke up in a psychiatric hospital. And one of the little first clues of resurrected energy at work was when he woke up in that psychiatric hospital, he soon discovered that everybody there was a dog whisperer fan. He had all these fans in the psych hospital of him and his work. It was encouraging, and he said he felt like he belonged, and he began to regain a sense of purpose. It's who he was. The universe is reminding you, this is who you are. These are your gifts. We recognize that in you. People recognize that in you. So he began to recover, to rest, to exercise, something that had always been nurturing, to resume his work, working with dogs, which was his calling in life, and over time, a whole new life. I watched a documentary film called Caesar Milan, The Real Story. It's on Nat Geo, about how he crossed the border to come into this country and how he moved through to reach success here. And now he says, I'm crossing a new border, and I have a new life. And for the first time, I'm sharing my whole self and my whole life. And he has a new program, Caesar Milan's Leader of the Pack. It's involved in giving rescue animals a second chance in life. Resurrected from depression, suicidal depression, from financial ruin. He has a new relationship. He has a new life. And he says he's like this whole new self. He's bringing more of his self to his work. Some kind of expansion. That's resurrection. That's resurrection at work. Bringing somebody back from a really tough place. How does that happen? Where does that come from? There's another one that's kind of an amazing story. A woman I learned about on an Oprah interview some time back. And you heard of Amy Purdy? She was a snowboarder, participated in Paralympics, won 2 gold medals. She's the only snowboarder in the world with 2 prosthetic legs. She lost both below the knee. It's an amazing resurrection story. At the age of 19, she was very healthy, happy. She was an avid snowboarder. She just became a massage therapist because she thought with her massage table she could work anywhere. She could travel the world and snowboard and be independent. And all of a sudden, she's 19 years old, she comes down with something that seems like the flu. She's got a temperature of like 101. It really felt miserable, but it kind of looked like the flu, just kind of went to bed. But it wasn't the flu. And in the midst of that, she heard a voice saying, Amy, get up and go look in the mirror. She thought it was like her own thoughts and kind of her own voice. Amy, get up, go look in the mirror. So she kind of dragged herself out of the bed and realized her legs she couldn't really even feel, and they looked purple. And she looked in the mirror, and her nose and cheeks looked purple. She had contracted bacterial meningitis, which it can be like 24 hours, and it can be such a dangerous thing when you contract that. Usually, people's immune system can fight it right off, but she came down with this. So within 24 hours, she went from that fever to, she lost both legs below the knee, ruptured spleen, kidneys failed, she was on life support and in a coma, and had less than a 2% chance to survive, to live. And then, wow, came back from that. It wasn't immediate. There's a picture of her on a video of her. She was in bed for 3 months. One of the first things they did was show her these clunky prosthetic things that she tried to put on, and it was painful, and they were clunky, and they were horrible. And so they were leaning against the wall in her bedroom, and she was in bed for 3 months. Imagine going from all the hope in the world and the excitement about your future to that. And she said at some point, this idea came to her. Where did these ideas come from? This idea came to her, if my life was a book and I was the author of it, what would I want to happen next? What a powerful question to come to you. It's like, kind of like taking ownership as author, as creator, as imaginer, as visioner of your life, giving yourself permission. If my life was a book, and I was the author of it, what would I want to happen next? And she began to think about that and envision that. She knew she wanted to walk again gracefully. She wanted to somehow help people. And she wanted to snowboard again. That's kind of what she was really clear about in her mind. And she began to envision that and to imagine that. And she said she did it so vividly, she didn't just think about snowboarding, she could feel the snow in her face. Real vivid thinking and dreaming and reflecting. And she began to come back from this terrible place. She began by designing some new prosthetics for herself that she'd be able to move better on. They were very successful. She began to move better, more easily, with greater strength. And it's amazing. She returned to work. She returned to snowboarding. With the success of her prosthetic devices, she started a nonprofit called Adaptive Action Sports, where she designed better prosthetics for people to do sports in. And she became very graceful, in fact. She took her organization and the making of limbs for kids with prosthetics to South Africa and equipped a whole lot of, especially teenagers who needed prosthetics so they could do sports, equipped them all with that, with her nonprofit. She appeared on Dancing with the Stars. Some of you might have caught that at some point. Dancing so gracefully, but with these metallic, lower legs. It's amazing how she could sail around the floor. She has a TED Talk out, Living Beyond Limits. She has a best-selling book called On My Own 2 Feet, From Losing My Legs to Learning the Dance of Life. She doesn't feel disabled. She feels enabled to do things she wouldn't have ever been able to do before. Isn't that amazing? The power, the love that reached her. I don't see how we can call it anything else, because that's the effect of it. These ideas that came into her mind. What if your life is a book? You're the author. What would you do next? What would you want to happen? The voice that came to her in the midst of it, go look in the mirror. You need to do something now. And in the midst of her challenge in the hospital, she said she had a very clear understanding. She was asked the question, do you want to go or stay? Do you want to go or stay? There is power available to us, this resurrecting energy and power that we don't perceive in the ordinary moments of our lives, but they're happening all the time. Love reaching us in the midst of terrible times, bringing us insights and inspiration, bringing us encouragement and hope. One more I wanted to mention, and some of you might have read some of Mark Nepo's work. We did a book study on his exquisite risk a couple years ago. His newest book, 7,000 Ways to Listen. He's written a number of books now. But some years back, 26 years ago, he was just a poet, hadn't written any of these books yet. And all of a sudden, he discovered a lump on his head one day. This is 26 years ago or so. And it kept growing and growing, and he kept ignoring it because he was so healthy. He'd never been to doctors or thought much about it. Until a friend of him said, Nepo, looks like you're growing a second head. In the tactful way sometimes our friends can be. And so he went to his sports doctor. It was the only doctor he knew of, and the sports doctor said, you need to go somewhere else. There's something going on here. And yeah, he had a tumor, and it was pretty advanced, and he went into pretty extensive chemo and treatment that went on for a long time, quite a difficult healing journey. But maybe as a poet, he really had an eye to look for the depth in it and look for what he could draw from that difficult experience, because he found a new depth to his work, a new dimension. He's written all these books now, guiding other people through the challenges in their lives. He said, no experience is wasted. He said, God is there in the midst of when you're carrying burdens, and God is there when you begin to feel that billowing of spirit as you emerge from them. God is in the midst of it. And here's this insight that I thought was particularly helpful to reflect on. He said, whatever opens us, for him it was the cancer, or it could be the injury, or the illness. Whatever opens us, cracks us open, is not as important as what it opens within us. I find that a very powerful idea. Because what he's saying is, when we go through these dark times, these challenges that seem to break us, it opens up something within us. It expands who we are. It puts us in greater touch with this allness of God in us, I think, and it brings forth a greater fullness. We become more. We become more of our potential. We realize more of it. We are resurrected. Does it mean we would embrace all the dark times we go through? No. But I think we all have to acknowledge we go through dark times, do we not? All of us, of one kind or another. And it's a great blessing to know and believe, absolutely, that God is there with us in the midst of it and is going to bring us through, and very likely with treasures to show for it, with an expanded self, with deeper capacity, with deeper wisdom, and with more to share with the world around us. Whatever opens us is not as important as what it opens within us. That's the heart of the Easter message, I think. Death is not the end. No darkness is permanent. No darkness of any kind. Love is always stronger than death, stronger than despair, depression, loneliness, illness, sadness, stronger than any stuck, dark place we can get into. The Easter message is the resurrecting power of God's love will guide us through and into a greater experience of life. So that's our kind of affirmation today. I accept the resurrecting power of God. How about that? I accept the resurrecting power of God. Let's take that into prayer for a moment. We accept, we believe, we claim, we know God is already at work within us, in our lives, in our loved ones' lives, in our community, doing its powerful resurrecting work, bringing divine ideas that will lead us to greater peace and joy and wholeness, bringing us comfort and encouragement, bringing us new strength and a steadying peace that will enable us to face any challenge in our lives. The resurrecting power of love is always stronger than death. This is the truth we affirm this morning, and we give thanks for it. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.